Senator Anderson, I am just wondering at the point I made is, and I do support the amendment because, as I said, there are many other studies. Senator Anderson, what do you find wrong with other studies on this specific issue, and how do you feel our study would be any different than the other studies that have already been paid for?
Senator Anderson.
Madam Chair, Senator Jungbauer, we haven't paid for any other studies that deal with the economic and environmental costs and benefits of a cap-and-trade program in Minnesota. There's been no study to that effect that I'm aware of. There's been lots of national and international studies done by scientists, by economists.
And so I think our choice is whether or not we're going to spend $500,000 of hard-earned taxpayer money that we've collected, that we're going to say this is a good use of that money to turn it over to a group of people that are going to produce some study, and we don't know, at least most of us don't know who those people are. So members, I would urge us to be a little responsible here and show some restraint and not spend this money. Let's just vote this down and take up some things that might help us get our budget resolved.
I just have to make one other final comment, because I've heard it said many times during this debate, we shouldn't study this issue, and I have to tell you that I wish we weren't studying this issue either. But I would come to a different conclusion about what I think we should be doing. Everywhere I go, I talk to people across Minnesota who say, why aren't you acting faster? Why aren't you doing more? We have an urgent crisis on our hands. We have children who believe they will not grow up because they're going to die of global warming. Honestly, children are scared about this. Young people are concerned about it. Every meeting I go to, people say, you need to act and you need to do more. I would like to see us pass a carbon cap and trade now. It's urgent. The scientists tell us we are running out of time. And so, members, this bill doesn't do what I want to do either. It doesn't go as far as I think we should go. That will come later, that discussion.
Well, Senator Anderson, I'm sorry that your children are afraid. I have 4 children. They're 17, 16, 13, and 10. They're not afraid. They shouldn't be afraid. To talk about fear and climate change is very irresponsible here on the Senate floor. The science is not settled about climate change. The scientists haven't determined that should be fear of global warming. It's not documented, and the forecasts, the computers that are used for forecasts, are completely faulty. There's no way to predict that there are increasing temperatures and that we should run to some conclusion and start developing studies and talk about spending more money and more planning. We don't need that. What we really need to stop is trying to instill fear in people. My children have actually engaged in this conversation. They read about it. They've been to the NASA website. They've been to other websites that talk about climate change. There's nothing to fear. It's the lack of information that is causing fear. And disseminating faulty information is causing fear in our communities. And the Senate is participating that in this very day by getting up on the Senate floor, having a senator speak to fear in our communities about climate change. That is just irresponsible.
Senator Anderson.
I don't appreciate being called irresponsible. And so I just want to set the record straight here. I'm not making this up. One of my friends, her son, who's 10, said, Mom, you're lucky. You're going to die of old age. I have to die of global warming. I'm not making this up. Another friend of my son says, believes the world's going to end in 10 years because of global warming. I'm not making this up. These are children who are afraid of the future because of what they see in the media, what they learn in school, whatever it is. Whether their fears are justified or not, you can make your own decision. But the reality is that I'm worried. I'm fearful of the future if we don't act.
Senator Ortman.
Madam Chair, should we be studying and fighting fear, or should we be looking for facts? And I think we should leave that to the scientific community.
I think Senator Anderson just did a great job of proving why we should all vote no on this bill, because it furthers something that has no basis in scientific proof. And I want to go on record for the chamber again. If one person in this chamber can provide me with one piece, just one piece of scientific evidence that shows there is any link to CO2 and temperature change, please provide it to me, because right now I have 22,000 years of proxy data that proves beyond any reasonable doubt, in fact with 100% certainty, that in 22,000 years of Earth's history there is not one link between CO2 and temperature.
So as Senator Anderson now looks at cap and trade and transforming this this energy field, at least in terms of where we get our electricity, she is actually imposing requirements on the state of Minnesota, which I think are going to put us at a very non-competitive edge with respect to energy products and the price of energy in Minnesota. We cannot solve global warming alone as we might think we could, at least she thinks we could, within the state of Minnesota. It is at least a national problem, and more so, frankly, it's an international problem. But yet we seem fixed, at least on the DFL side, to think that we can be an island and that we can go forward, and if we do, I fear dearly that we're going to put our state in a very non-competitive situation with respect to energy prices. And of course, if we have energy prices which aren't competitive, we're going to see our entire economy affected in a negative way. And
all of the senators at the Senate Republican Caucus encourage you to stay abreast of current events, keep up with what's going on down at the Capitol, and give them a call if you have any questions or concerns. The number at the Senate Republican Caucus is 651-296-1930. Thanks for watching Your Minnesota Senate in Short.